Thank you, Tammy, for sharing. I
Yeah.
truly appreciate that. And the other piece to today is around the fact that it's part of being inside of this, the content creation tips and more, is that we're always helping and putting out resources and adding value to you guys so that, again, the whole point of starting a business is to make money. Just in case that message didn't come out clear enough when you started. I mean, even from a philanthropic heart, at the end of the day, when I work with not-for-profit organizations, it's still about you need to have a revenue stream. You need to have income coming in on a routine
Yes.
basis to cover expenses, even if it's just a break even, let alone to make a profit. And so one of the things that I have discovered and have really embraced has been the use of content marketing methods and strategies because number one, it's fun. Number two, very low cost and more effective. And it's all about the long game. So for those of you who are looking for get rich quick and things are going to just kind of come to you overnight, content marketing is not that method. There is digital marketing, and mostly with digital marketing, there is a price tag to it. And so, yes, it is also an effective method, but usually for those of us who are new, or again, solopreneurs, those micro small businesses, we have to be very thrifty when it comes to our dollars. It's particularly starting up. So then there's no shame in being frugal, but you want to make thoughtful decisions about what it is that's going to work best for you. And you, at the very beginning, in particular, is you're looking to put more sweat equity into the game to kind of compensate for the out-of-pocket expenses that you may think that you need to incur. So it's kind of a balance that you're going to give up one for the other. Don't you think so, Tammy?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's definitely it's a juggling act. I like to tell people.
Yeah.
In fact, when you go to my website, you'll see that part of my goal is to keep you from juggling and make you
Yeah.
a smooth go from a juggler to a smooth operator, uh, and making that work. So one of the things that when we think about starting out your business and using content marketing methods is you need content. And so one of the things that we're going to do in helping you all to work out this week, in the next couple of weeks, depending on the length of time you want to commit, is to look at how can you use Facebook Live, like we're doing right now, inside of this group. But use it in getting yourself in front of your audience. And so let me bring up my little note here. Keeps want to go away. So one of the things that we know that's we're pretty clear about is that video is a very powerful tool, and that everyone's using it online. And it's not a secret that Facebook essentially loves video too, because they keep putting it out there in front of you as well. But it's not a surprise that your customers are loving it because they're hanging out on Facebook, depending on who they are and what they like to do. So this also, just to be clear, that when we talk about video, it doesn't always just have to be inside of Facebook, but for the sake of today, we're using that as the catalyst for this method. And you can be able to apply the same thing with Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. LinkedIn now is going live. So this just tells you the whole premise around why video is powerful, right? And so when you think of it in that way, that your audience likes what you have to say, but they need to know you before they can trust you enough to give you a significant amount of money. And so if it's not local and you can't necessarily meet everybody at the coffee shop like we used to be able to do, I still go to the coffee shop and meet up with my peoples. But so how is it that you can do so and be able to get your real deals? And so watching you on live stream is going to be a mechanism for you to do that, in addition to some other goodies that you have as a benefit of doing so. So this time you can get fans from all around the world, and they can see your energy, they can hear your voice, they can see that you have a brain and that you have something to offer them, and that you can apply whatever methods that you have, be it a promotional specialist or a coach or a beauty expert or a dietitian whatever your expertise is, that you have an ability to bring your voice to meet them where they are and get your message out there. So one of the other benefits too with live streaming is that because your audience is also kind of based out there, is there's an opportunity for them to engage with you. So going live also gives you that opportunity to give them to ask questions and that you can answer them. Again, boosting up that know, like, and trust factor that we want to be able to gain from your audience and get that social proof out there. Social proof, just as a definition, because I hate to throw out terms and then people are like, what the heck is she talking about? So social proof is a term that we use in marketing. And essentially it's that number. It means that it's a validation of your presence out on the internet as far as followers or subscribers or clients. All of those are mechanisms of what we call social proof. And you want to be able to continue to grow on that number because it is a validator for how people will perceive you. And so you certainly want to be considered a known factor inside of your niche, right? You're not trying to compare, I don't compare myself to Bill Gates or to Warren Buffett, right? I admire them, but that's not a competition. That's not a fair competition in what I'm looking to do. So I'll quote them from time to time, though. So what live streaming is going to allow you to do is it's kind of like even an element of surprise in a way, but it also is an opportunity where you can share an offer, you can give a bit of information, and build up content that you'll also be able to use in different ways while you're still giving and adding significant value to your current subscribers and listeners and followers that are on your friends, your followers, and your customers, as well as you're going to be able to attract new people as well. So the thing too is that the more active that you are, the more prone it is or applicable that your name is going to start to fall into other people's feeds because of the subject matters that you're talking about, and also the number of followers that you're having. So embracing the technology is not a hard thing. I want to talk about how you can quickly do this as well. So kind of, it's a win-win for everybody, you and your prospects is what I like to call it. So what I've done is inside of the group, let me pull it up here, inside of the feed, let me see, I think when I kicked out, I put it inside the comments. Give me 1 second. So here's a Google Doc. And what I'm going to give you is a quick checklist that you guys can utilize. So the point is, the challenge is what I'm calling it. So this is your Facebook Live content creation challenge. And you can do this challenge for 5 days or 10 days or 15 days. You get to choose. And the other great thing about it is we're starting on Monday. So starting Monday the 5th. So we'll get over all the firecrackers. I don't know about you, but my neighborhood, they don't know how to turn off firecrackers. So even as much as it's over, even like 5 days later, I'm still hearing firecrackers.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, so I'm gonna give you a quick checklist of things for you to think about between now and Monday. And here's the thing I want everyone to take away, if nothing else. This is just a small chunk in your entire day. This should not be overwhelming or over-consuming of your day. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't chunk out more than 30 minutes every day to get this done. This is doable and it doesn't take a lot. It's just a matter of getting prepared, and which is what this checklist is going to allow you to do. So I put together some 8 items that I feel will help you in preparing and keeping it simple at the same time. So with that said, you'll be able to pick your time. You're going to what time of day do you want to do it? If you don't want to even do it every day, if you make the commitment, this is your business, this is your time, everybody's at a different place. So you commit to that, think about your topics, and also that you want to share what you're doing every day and putting it inside here in the group, and we'll have a post for you all to share your links, because this is, again, another opportunity to share your knowledge and expertise with your fellow members here inside of the group. So you will have that as well. So with that said, I'm gonna bring up I think it'll be best if I bring up the handout just to have it up here as well. So let me do a quick share screen. And I'm gonna share my window. And is it in the window? Hold on a second. No, it's not. Hold on. There we go. All right. Now we can share. Okay, so let me know if everyone can see what I have. And if not, also click on the link in the comments and you'll have a copy as well.
I can see it fine, so hopefully.
Great.
Everybody can.
So again, live stream to create should we say create? Or creation content for your audience. I got a typo on there. Again, you have a choice. Do you want to do it for 1 week, for 2 weeks, or for 3 weeks? Again, depending on the message or what you're trying to achieve, or we can build on that. And you can just kind of think, just jot all the notes and ideas down. There's no right or wrong, really. It's really about just getting started and getting the work done. But what you'll also find here in the checklist, let me scale this down a little bit. There we go. Pull this back up. Okay, so here you have first your step 1 is preparing for your first live stream. So if you've never done live stream before and you want to, congratulations for taking your big first step, because it's a milestone. Everyone's not at the same level of comfort or just knowledge or time or whatever that is. So just know that this is a great first step. And also just, again, preparing for it makes all the difference at the same time. So you have that benefit. So one of the first things is, of course, what about your equipment? Great thing about live streaming, you're already on it. What you're using right now, or if you're on a desktop, or if you're on a tablet, or if you're on a cell phone, whatever you would choose to use. The one thing I will say to you is, here's the difference. Is that if you're choosing to use your cell phone, then be consistent in using the cell phone. If you're going to use your laptop, be consistent in using a laptop. And here's why. If you're using your cell phone, it's going to use a different configuration as far as your video size. Now, you can always go back and edit everything that we're getting ready to produce when you're creating your content going live. But out of the nature of the cell phone and the fact that you're going to be doing this through your app in Facebook, it comes, the size will come across a bit differently than if you're using it from a laptop and inside of your home office, or if you're using a tablet. So choose the device, but be consistent in the use of the device itself, if that makes sense. And I know that may not always work all the time, and you may just do something on the fly. That's great too. But just know that out of the formatting of your video files, that's a matter of how you'll be able to repurpose that content later as well. So just know that. Of course, your lighting, natural light is always the best light. If not, then make sure that you can come across as fully illuminated, so people can see you and they're not trying to make sure, like, I can't see her face. You don't want anybody having difficulty to see who you are. So always making sure that you have proper lighting. Best times, of course, to do it is during the day, but that may not be the time of day that works for you. And if not, then again, get the appropriate artificial light. If you haven't already invested in a little ring light, they come as small as, where's my clip one? Someone stole it. I think someone took it away already. You can get a simple ring light that you can click on, snap on top of your phone. So $10. So just know, we're not also out to buy a whole bunch of stuff, people. You're using what you already have. So do know that. And then secondly, your background. How do you want to be perceived? For instance, how is that working with your branding? If you're a health nut and you're doing, and you are doing tips having to do with proper diets, or working, then maybe being outdoors and having greenery and things in the background that matches your persona and it matches your brand. So think about, again, your backgrounds. Again, keep it simple. Just make sure that you're comfortable with what you see. That's what's most important. And that you'll kind of know who your ideal audience is, and that it will be appealing, of course, to them as much as it is to you. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Hopefully. Okay. Let me see my other. Of course, you need to have a goal. So in this particular case, what we're talking about here is when you're going on Facebook Live, you need to know why you're doing this in the first place, right? So you want to be able to have a simple plan. For instance, you want to be able to, if you want to attract new people to come into a sales funnel and then and into your social media following, there's no you don't want to have them turning away, so you have to make sure that you have some type of a clear message. So you don't have to get stuck on goals, but there's primarily 3 different types of goals that you can have. There's either one, your goal is just to build relationships. And what I mean by that is that your followers will want to know, like, and trust you before they'll buy from you. So you need to prove your value to them. So building those relationships with your followers, allowing them to be able to see inside of your life, get a glimpse, or maybe it's your coaching style, or how you onboard a customer, how you facilitate an event, if you're an event planner, those types of things. You want to be able just to prove your worth, and be able, again, to add value. So that may be one of your goals. Another goal could be, if you have a Facebook group and you want to be able to challenge your community, then this is a great way to build engagement inside of your group and doing a live stream inside of there. And another one might be, is simply that you might be at that position in your life where you're looking to sell something, and that you can do this over a period of time. So ultimately, that's what we all want. We all want to have that ability to be able to make a profit, right? And you want to be able to trade first. So there's opportunities where you can nurture your relationships and be able to tell your audience exactly why your program or your product is made for them. So there's an opportunity where you can get your viewers to get really excited and get them to be persuaded to make a purchase. So you're kind of building up this kind of, I would say, kind of like you're kind of dropping seeds. So over the course of 5 days, you could be talking about your product, you could be, or an event, or you're launching something, so that at the end of the 5 days, then you're able to then make an offer and give them something. So those are your 3 types of goals. So which one of these would work best for you and your intention? So think about that. Sure here. Another one is a script. Now, I say script, and I just really mean bullet points, just some key talking points here. You just want to make sure that you have some organized thoughts in front of you, just so that you're not babbling over the window of time that you do have. Get a postcard if you want to have just, 3 key things you always want to make sure that you're saying. So what I call the rule, practice what I call the rule of 3. So here's the rule of 3. In the rule of 3, when you're looking at your bullet points, add 3 quick supporting points for each main point that you're going to be talking about. So you'll be expressing maybe it's a concept more completely, and that your audience is going to be more likely to remember your message, an offer that you're going to be doing it. So if you're touting about your ebook, will show you how to work more productively. If that's the ebook that you have, maybe it's on productivity, then back it up with a claim. Maybe it's 3 short supporting items with respect to how it's going to be more productive. So again, just kind of carve out some quick triggers that are going to help you to articulate your message. That's if you're selling a product. But no matter what the subject matter is, if, like, for instance, in some cases, I might do something on key ways of boosting your website, right? So if I talk about the SEO, then I need to expound on SEO and give me 3 many things that talks about it. Just expounding on it. Again, you want to be able to add value and give your credibility the boost that it needs, that people can say, oh, I think they know what they're talking about. You also want to be able, in some instances, to kind of answer the question as a party that you're thinking about your audience. This is really important, that you want to be able to know that this is who you're talking to as you're thinking about your key talking points. So consider the what, the where, the why, the how. If there's any questions that may come out, you want to always have the answers ready for you, and then you're going to keep your audience informed, and that they will want to take action at the same time. Mention any benefits or features that your product or your challenge has. You want to be able to give them those benefits so that they can kind of minimize questioning or anything. So always giving up those key benefits. If you're, again, from a promotional standpoint, if you're just simply going to be doing in that kind of that goal of awareness, then and you're simply giving out some quick tips on a particular how to do something, then the same thing still needs to apply. You want to maybe give a story or give a reason why it's important. Oh, sorry, popped up on top of my screen. And also make what you're doing conversational. You're talking to your ideal customer. So however you want to be conversational in that it's not a sales pitch. This is just like, hey, how you doing? And make it light and welcoming and have that kind of conversational voice that you and a girlfriend or boyfriend or brother or sister are having. Because after all, having that conversation with your audience is wanting to be able to come across as authentic as possible. So if you need to write it down a couple of times, because once you start, the great thing about going live is once you start going, and this is why it's great to do this now inside of this challenge, is it's about forming habits. And if you can commit to doing it 5 days in a row minimally, then you've already overcome that obstacle about, well, I've done this already. And then you can start to master it after you've gotten through past the I've never done it before. You can check that off your list. And then always remember to introduce yourself. Yes, your friends and your family, yeah, they know you, but your followers, and they don't remember your biography. They don't remember what you wrote in your bio or down in the feature section of your biz page. They don't remember any of that. So it's always important that you're always introducing yourself at the start or in the mid-side of each one of your live streams, so that you're programming your audience essentially. But don't take it for granted is essentially what that means. In some cases, what I've seen is a great strategy is when you're starting a video is start with a question. That always gets people piqued, is put out the question that you're going to solve in the form of your video for the day. And then introduce yourself. So you don't have to always start like you're a news broadcaster and then start the story. Pose the question first, kind of like a lead story like you hear on the news, right? You hear, and then more news at 11. So pose your question. Like, did you ever know the difference between the Red Sox and the White Sox? And then I'll be answering that question. I am, and then go into your introduction, and then go straight into your live stream content as far as the topic and those key points that we just talked about earlier. So you have that opportunity. Another reason why that's a great format is that when you use it for other pieces, you're more likely to get people intrigued about the question and not first, and then you are this expert is going to answer it. So they're more apt to want to listen more than just hearing about you first. So that's the other thing. So you're always kind of putting the audience first when you're doing it that way. Okay, oops, sorry. Let's see, we pull ups. Okay, building in some interaction. So again, you're going to be live. There may be an opportunity for you to greet your viewers by name. So when you're live inside of your Facebook stream, you will start to see other people kind of tap into your feed. So once you see any coming up, you'll normally see in Facebook Live, you're going to see an eyeball icon and you'll see numbers. That lets you know there are people watching. You should be, depending on how they're going to come up on your screen, you'll actually see the people's names. So if you do, acknowledge them when you see them, because that way, number one, they know that you're live. Two, it's just, again, another way of staying authentic and acknowledging this presence in this space. But you don't have to wait for people to show up to do your live stream. So I want to say that again. Don't wait to start a live stream until you have an audience. This is not what this is about, because number one, it's going to fall into your feed anyway as a recorded recording. So you start your live stream when you start, regardless if you're talking to one person or 100 people or 0 people, because again, you are creating content and you're building that and putting that into your stream, and that you'll be able to. We'll be talking about how you'll be able to optimize that content later. So always, again, ask questions in your audience, again, if you have an opportunity to do so. And then if you can, again, depending on the topic, remember what your goals are. And if it aligns properly, if you have a giveaway offer, then you can do a little giveaways, or you can incentivize people to do those giveaways. And what I mean by that kind of goes into how you can get more views online, is that you can announce that you're going to be doing giveaways, and that they have to do, like, maybe it's share your live stream with 3 other people, or tag your friends inside of the live stream. There's different ways that in the comments that you can incentivize people so that your content can get out in front of other eyeballs at the same time. But it's also just an opportunity for you to build up, have some engagement on the feed itself. So this takes some time, depending on where you are in your following and that social proof, but you got to start somewhere. So don't you let the numbers be a deterrent for how you approach doing your live streaming. It's all a matter of getting started. So if you've never done it before and this is your first time, then give yourself a pat on the back. You're not getting graded or anything like that. I will be more than happy when you're doing some of your practices. If you want to share, that's the whole point of also sharing your links inside of the group, is if you want people to give you feedback, this is the space where you can do it in a safe way and not feel like you're being judged. You're giving critical feedback and being judgmental are 2 different things. Critical feedback means that I want to give you some useful information to make you better. Judgment, on the other hand, is just someone's blatant opinion of something and they don't care how you feel. That's the difference. So when inside of our community, it's about how can we help each other, grow each other, and critical feedback is a part of that. That's the framework for which kind of coaching comes from. So anything you want to do to incentivize inside of your group to build that interaction, those are all great ideas. Again, you don't have to do all of these at the same time. Again, pick and choose, pace yourself. You may not want to, if your focus isn't really in engagement on these first couple of days, that's fine. That's why I gave you the choice, 5 days, 10 days, or 50, if you want to do 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, because you can grow into it. Pace yourself. This is not a contest, this is a challenge. And a challenge is just about pushing yourself and stretching yourself, that's it. You're not competing but with yourself. It's kind of like golf, believe it or not. I know people, it's like, how is golf? Golf is competing with yourself. That's the beauty about golf. Yes, you'll be with other people, and yes, they may have a different hand. That's why handicapping is part of the game. But golf is about you and the ball and how you're going to get better with the relationship between you and the ball. That's it. I don't care about anybody else's handicap or anything along those lines. I'm overdue in my being out on the golf course, needless to say. But that's just, again, give yourself permission to try, experiment, and get better. Okay, step number 6. This one is pretty easy, but again, know your schedule. So you want to be able to either do 1 or 2 things inside of your Facebook page, your business page particularly, or if you have a Facebook group in your group. You want to look at your analytics, and you want to kind of give a sense for what are some peak times your people are most engaged. Even when you post something on your personal feed, on your business page feed, when you post, you can look at that data. And if most of the people are looking at it and commenting it more in the mornings than in the afternoons, then that may be a better time for you to go live with your live streaming. So use your data to as a basis for how you may choose to schedule in addition to your current business schedule. Everybody is not necessarily as flexible to do everything during the day. You might choose to say, you know what, I'm gonna do my live streams at night, and that's fine. But just know that you'll get to the point from prior is that if you want to get that engagement and have some of your followers, then look at your data to kind of see when it's an ideal time, when that can happen best for you. And again, if you go live with your viewers and you get that energy and you can get those questions and those comments asked, and again, you can incentivize and letting them know, because here's the thing, when you know about your schedule, then you want to be able to tell people when you're going to go online. So I just gave you a quick little schedule, like do you want to do it in the mornings, or maybe you might want to kind of jump, nights in the mornings on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and nights for Tuesday, Thursdays. You set the schedule, then people will know what they can expect when you do go live. Any questions so far? Is it making sense? Okay. And then choosing a format. Now here again, we talked about you are your expert in your lane, right? So if you're the expert in your lane, then you want to just choose a format that's going to work best for you. So for instance, it may be how-to series. It's kind of like a theme. So is it going to be a how-to series? Is it going to be like, maybe it's a product review, maybe you unbox things because you test things out, or maybe it's a Q&A session. If you're asking, you're going to be collecting questions from your audience, and then you're going to do a Q&A session every day. So you can facilitate and have fun with this. That's the great thing too. Maybe it's a behind the scenes. If you're a product seller and you produce products, or you're an artist, you're creative, and you can show and share how you go about it, your approach, you and your team, in producing something. Not that you have to give away all your secret ingredients necessarily. Even if you're a foodie, or where's my girl? Cynthia? Is it Cynthia?
Yes.
She does so Cynthia, right? She's a blog writer, but she also cooks, right? So she's doing a recipe. So she may go behind the scenes and talk about things that you won't necessarily see every day, in how she approaches her cooking styles, or how, so it could be anything on when we talk about behind the scenes. So it's more about that nature of it. In my particular case, because of this type of work that I do, I don't really have a behind the scenes, because a lot of my work is interaction with people. And sometimes because of exclusivity, and also because of the coaching relationship I have to honor, I can't share my coaching conversations with you guys. But I can share essence of how people have overcome and done certain things. But just because of the nature of the type of work that I do behind the scenes isn't necessarily an ideal opportunity for me. You also may want to choose as your go live to just do interviews. This takes your planning kind of down a bit, when you could just line up people to interview and ask questions that, again, is going to add value to your current people, and as well as your potential prospects. Bring in experts that can validate who you are, what you do, or your industry experts, and again, can help to build content. This is what this is all about. So those are just some formats that you might want to consider in the theming for your live stream for those days that you're going to commit. And then last but not least, practice. Now, again, don't get overwhelmed. We want to really keep this simple, but you could simply practice you can do broadcast inside of Facebook Live. When you go and you click on Facebook Live, there's an option there that it says choose your audience. You can choose yourself. You don't have to feed straight into your page. You can see it so no one else will see it, just so you can get the technicals out of the way, as well as just do a practice run. You can also just hit the record on your phone in your camera, and you can simply just practice recording there. But you will have, if you just to get over your nervousness and stuff, but just to practice and kind of get the lay of the land, you can do that. You can, again, just save those recordings to your cell phone or to your camera, your tablet, and then view them on the same device. This will also give you a sense for how does the feed look on the device. So the fact that right now I'm inside of a room from my laptop. This will look different in some cases if I were doing the same thing if live from my cell phone. Now you may also want to, if you want to invest in a couple of things, the selfie stick is a good thing to have. If you don't have one, you can pick one up for little or nothing. Like $5 somewhere. I don't know where. Tammy, where do you get selfie sticks now besides Amazon? Can you get them local somewhere?
That's where I would look. Walmart, maybe.
Walmart, Kmart, Target. If you just want to go out and get one, because what I do feel is important is that you don't want to sit there be holding your phone the whole time. That can get annoying. So you do want to at least put it, prop it somewhere or have a holder. So like in my office, I have a clamp version of the selfie stick so that it clamps to it, and I have an arm and I can maneuver it because you may want to go vertical versus horizontal as well. So that's something just to consider as far as the way in which you'll come across and again, get comfortable. The other thing too is that when you have, if you're able to put your camera in stationary, then you're able to use your hands. Using your hands is a great way to keep people engaged with you. Not flurrying all over the place, but moving and having hand gestures is important. So that body language comes across. So you want to be able people to see your hands as much as you can. So even if you're holding the selfie stick, you'll still have this hand available, and you want to be able to point to things or give some levels of expression. So keep that in mind. Again, you want to just be able to things that you're going to look for when you look at your practice video. I gave you a quick list. Look at your setting. Is the background too busy or is it boring? Do you have any branding image? Do you want to put your brand logo in the back? Make sure your audio is clear. Again, you're just working off your phone. You don't have to buy a microphone if you don't want to. Sorry. You don't have to buy a microphone if you don't want to. That could be something you grow into. If you want to make this kind of a little competition for yourself, it's like, you know what? If I do 10 straight live streams, I earned myself to get me a Yeti mic, like the one I have here. This is the one I have. Hello.
See, we're not seeing you, Dr. Em, so you'll have to show us that mic after you stop screen sharing.
Let me stop sharing screen.
There she is.
There we go. So yeah, you want to make sure that when you are, if you want to, you don't just use the audio that comes with the built-in mic that you have, but if you want to, you can invest in a mic like this. This is a Yeti mic. This one was $129, I think. But again, it's an investment, but it's not something you have to have. The mics on the phones nowadays are phenomenal. I just got the new, what do I have? I have the iPhone 12. Much better, and than my iPhone 6, which is what I jumped from. I hold on to things, so until they break. That's just me. I just and I didn't want to give it up either. The only reason why I gave up my 6 is because there were several apps that would not work on my phone because the OS. But anyway, so lighting is another. Again, look for shadows, look for any glares, do it as much as you can. Take advantage of natural light when you can, and then of course body language. Smile. Don't look like somebody's holding you up at gunpoint or like this is a hostage video. You want to feel comfortable in front of your audience, and if that takes some time to get to, then again, take baby steps. Just talk about things that you can naturally talk about. You should feel comfortable enough about what you do and who you can serve in the area of topic of expertise that you have without a script. What I always tell people is, what are the 5 things that you can talk about in ad nauseum naturally without a script, because you know it so well. If you have to use a script often, it's one thing to have talking points, but it shouldn't be that you're reading from the script word for word. Talking points are just triggers for you to use so that you don't forget anything, but not as a script necessarily. So do keep that in mind. That's the nature of it. You want to come off as just, oh, this is something I talk about all day long. And also remember your language with respect to, you know, having that energy and that level. You want to come up as high energy so people will draw off of your energy in those interactions. And again, smile, 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 and look at the camera eyeballs. That's probably the hardest thing, is that if you need to put a sticker where your camera eye is on your device, if it's a laptop or your iPad or your phone, if you need to put a little sticker and say, look here, that's okay. No one's going to see that but you. I do it all the time because I tend to forget. And here's another thing I found was a great tip. You need to choose. It's always better if you can to stand up. So, and the reason for that is it gives people that presence of you when you're standing up and talking, and that you have a bit, not that you're swaying, because this is like what we do in Toastmasters, which is a talking and communications and leadership organization. If you ever need any help and you feel you want to get better at public speaking, then Toastmasters International is the space for you. And if you need any questions, just go to Toastmasters International, look it up on the internet. It's a great organization. I'm a member, and it really helps if you want to improve on your communications and leadership. But yes, standing up is a better posturing than sitting in state. So it just gives people that sense that you're standing up and talking to them. So again, choose your how you're going to set yourself up, your background, your lighting, and then just your body posturing. How do you intend to kind of come across, if it makes sense to do so. So those are just some of the key things to kind of keep in mind when you want to go live streaming. Tammy, what did I miss? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. The only thing I was going to add is when you talked about a script, and as opposed to having your 5 talking points, you know, it's a little bit better to be a little bit more relaxed and not necessarily have that written script. I will tell you, from somebody who has done it both ways multiple times, when you read from a script, you sound like you are reading from a script.
Exactly. That's
why. No doubt about it. And inevitably, you're gonna screw it up. So if you just have your talking points there in front of you, your little bullet points that you can refer back to, it's so much better for you, and it's much better for anybody that's going to be listening to you, because you're more relaxed, you're more you. You know, I find it to be better for me. And then if I do screw up, it becomes a joke, and it's not hard to get back to where I was. Whereas if you're reading a script and you screw up and it throws you off enough, it's really hard to get back to where you were.
Yeah, don't write out a script. Unless you use, now, I will tell you this, here's a little, and I only use this because I do a lot of training material. So in my work, I'm trying to be very, I don't want to say exact, but I have a lot of information that I'm trying to convey. And because my brain is ADHD, I could go off on a tangent with, like, you know, like a cat. It's like, what was that? So,
yeah, the attention span of a gerbil.
Yeah. So if there are teleprompter apps out there, I don't necessarily recommend it for the sake of this particular exercise. When you're doing more long length videos, like I create for training materials and stuff, I have a segment of information that I want to make sure that I'm coming across with, because it's training material. But that's different than a quick how-to, and again, it's about you and your brand. So just know that. But there are some teleprompters. I think one of my Biz Tip Tuesdays, I'll talk about teleprompter apps, because there are some really good ones out there and they do help. But for the sake of this particular challenge, I don't think it's necessary. Keep it simple. The less tech you have, the better. You and a phone, that's all you need, and hit the live button. That's it. That's
The
all you
less
need to
that
worry
can go
about.
wrong.
The less that can go wrong. Absolutely, my friend. So if you haven't already done so, make sure that you guys download the checklist. I hope you found that helpful. I pulled those key points together just so you can have a sense for it. And again, I'll be putting out some other information over the course of the next couple of days. We're going to go live starting on Monday. I'll even put my schedule out there so everybody can see what I'm going to be doing with my live stream on my Facebook page, my biz page. So I'm doing it on my Facebook biz page. You can do it on your personal page, where you can even do it on I'm doing it on my biz page. And if you have a Facebook group and you want to just do it in your Facebook group, there are opportunities if you want to, for third-party applications, if you want to kind of go grand on another scale. But for the sake of this challenge, I'm trying to keep everything as simple as possible, so I'm not going there. But if you want to know how to multi-stream, I'll talk about that in a separate video. And then we'll be good to go. All righty. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to step into the live, you now have this recording. Put any questions that you have below the feed as well, and then grab your copy of your checklist, and we will talk a little later. This is Dr. Yami. Keep it simple, coach. Let's get busy. Thank you, Ms. Tammy, for joining me today, and
Thank you.
sayonara. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.